Hello and welcome to episode 78 of the Craving Crypto podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about whether Bitcoin will get eaten up by Ethereum's market dominance. So let's get right into this. You guys, before we talk about Bitcoin versus Ethereum and dominance, let's go ahead and go over the total market cap and the top mover of the day. With the total market cap, we did see a buying candle. A couple of them actually come in on the daily candlesticks here, and we are headed up to this downward trending resistance line that we drew. We still have this big chunk of resistance right here that we have to get through, and a bearish engulfing candlestick. So the buying has to come back into the market very fast. This key level at 111 billion needs to hold for the total market cap to see continuation on the upside. Although we are nowhere near the support that is now resistance, that we failed to see this move happen. So we could see quite a bit of upside before major resistance is reached. Either way, I'm going to be watching the market leaders like EOS and Litecoin, because those have been the ones that actually broke above this resistance level, saw the most strength in the market, and I think that they will define what the rest of the market cap does through this period of time. Now let's check out the top mover for the day. We got HT token up 21%, so let's do some analysis on the short term and long term for HT. So this is an exchange token, just so you guys know. That means there's a website you can log in and use this exchange. I believe it's a fee token similar to the way that the Binance token works. Over here on the daily candlesticks, we can see that there was a short-term uptrend generated. This looks a lot to be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern that we see in classic Elliott wave theory. It's starting to get pretty close to this resistance here though, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if this drops, especially since the volume has not really increased for quite some time now. As you can see down here on the bottom, they've all been a very consistent height in volume, and that hasn't really increased much during this move. In the big picture, it saw a head and shoulders pattern. This is a bearish reversal pattern. As you can see, it rejected quite hard off of these tops at around $6 per coin, and then generated this downtrend that we are finally getting a little bit of relief from. So for a long-term buy, you'd really want to see these resistance levels broken above, and then the price to land back onto them, finding support. That would be a great spot to catch entries on this coin specifically. So Bitcoin versus Ethereum, are we going to have a flippening, and why this is so heavily discussed? I know this is like a scary thing for a lot of people, because the idea of one coin taking the number one, and the one that all these actually spawned from, Bitcoin, the mothership, is a big change in the crypto space and would cause a lot of hype and rethinking of how this entire space works. Obviously, a lot of people are aware of the fact that we have been consistently dropping in market dominance for Bitcoin really since the 2013-2014 area, but significantly in 2017 as alts started to pop off towards the end of the year. At the peak of the market, altcoins had a lot of dominance in the market, leaving Bitcoin at around 33% of the market and Ethereum upwards of 15.8%. That made everybody freak out. They were like, okay, is Bitcoin really that stable of an asset? We should have all our money in altcoins. Bitcoin's losing all its dominance. But that was part of the market cycle. That is actually where you really should have been making sure you had more Bitcoin and US dollar than anything else, because Bitcoin has shown the most stability, being a little bit lower volatility than these altcoins. So the psychology of the market caused for a lot of new investors to be trying new coins, new ideas, and speculating on the idea that they'll go up really for a long time, even though they had all been climbing for quite some period of time. Bitcoin currently is in a mini downward channel with its dominance, and altcoins are starting to show a lot of strength in the short term. So that leaves people to question, what's going to happen to Bitcoin? Will we get another alt season? And will something like Ethereum take over Bitcoin this year and then the next year? I do think that there will be a point that something does pass altcoins in Bitcoin dominance, but Currently, I see the strength in Bitcoin because we're still in a pretty intense market and people are going to flock towards what has the most stability, such as the US dollar and Bitcoin. So currently the strength and the favor sticks with Bitcoin, but we really need to watch these altcoins because if they start to pop off, break major resistance, and then Bitcoin sets up with more bearish candles, we could see a little bit of an inverse pop happen where we see a drop in Bitcoin and some of the altcoins pop off a little bit. So just be aware of that outcome and make sure that you have your stop loss set on Bitcoin and you're aware of the potential of a little altcoin rally. I don't think that we're going to see an altcoin pass Bitcoin dominance super soon, but I won't be surprised if this does happen. Mainly just because certain coins are going to be a little bit more fluid than Bitcoin and grow faster than Bitcoin actually did. I don't think that Bitcoin will ever leave or that we'll ever completely stop using Bitcoin, but it just makes sense that there would be something that more institutional money is piled into. But it's really all up to how institutional money decides to diversify their portfolios as it piles in while everything's super cheap. We have seen a lot of institutional money talk about how they are only in Bitcoin, and then the top richest Bitcoin wallets on the Bitcoin blockchain have been accumulating large amounts of Bitcoin. So we know that big players are getting in while the prices are really cheap down here. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see more of an effect where everything pops off, but Bitcoin just doesn't quite see as much percentages as some of the altcoins do. So yeah, it's definitely possible for something like Ethereum or Ripple or one of the altcoins eventually to pass Bitcoin in total market dominance. I don't think it's going to happen anytime super soon. I could be wrong. I would say that's something more like a few years down the road that a coin actually completely takes Bitcoin's dominance away. But it's something to be aware of. But while everything's super cheap, I think people will mainly be interested in more stable assets. And some of the most stable one would be Bitcoin. It's lower volatility in comparison to the altcoin markets. But either way, we're watching this Ethereum Bitcoin graph. We're aware of this inverse head and shoulders pattern and keeping an open mind to all the future possibilities here with Ethereum and Bitcoin. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. I hope that you guys learned something. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Snapchat in the description, and I will see you guys in the next videos. As always, stay profitable out there.